Yeah, here you go. Might as well do a little something. Oh, I'm sorry. How y'all doing? I got caught out there doing a little something extra. Um, well, good evening, man. Welcome to After Dark with Shawn Cornelius. I am your host, the romantic funny man, Shawn Cornelius, and I got a very, very special show tonight. As all my shows are special, but this one tonight is extra special because I got a really good friend of mine coming on the show, and boy, you guys just don't know when I actually can sit back and call somebody a brother and really mean it, and that's awesome for me. So what I'm doing right now, this is really a brother to me. So it's going to be an awesome show, and I hope everybody is ready and prepared for it. First of all, I'd like to, thank you guys for popping through. And if you're seeing this, please share. Please share this page. Go to the page and share it. Hopefully, there's no technical things because I see some stuff happening. I'm hoping that we are definitely live. That's what it says to me. So that's cool. But tonight's show is really awesome. So got a very talented brother sitting down with me tonight. He comes from music royalty. That's what I say. He's a talented dude, and he's played all over the country, out of the country, and I was blessed enough to be able to have him play and agree to play with me on some shows in my forming the LOS, the Legends of Soul show band. And he is awesome. Hey, Smoke. Hey, Denise. My trusty right and left hand are here. Producer and production manager are all in the building. And we're going to have a great time tonight with this show. So I basically want you guys to sit back and relax. And it's almost 3 minutes after now, so it's time for me to bring my guest to the show. Very talented guy. He's played with GQ. He's played with the Main Ingredient. He's played with so many. So we're gonna let him tell you all the people he's played for and get his background. I'm so happy to have him. Please welcome Thomas Gooding to the show. TG.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Sean. How you doing, buddy?
I'm blessed, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Good, good. Thank
I'm
you.
so happy. I'm so happy, man, to see you. We haven't been able to see each other since the pandemic, obviously physically, but we've talked a few times, and I'm so happy to that you had time to come down and sit with me tonight on the show.
Thank you. I'm glad. It's good to see your face and have the conversation, and I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and you know, what what we as a people have been doing for so long is just taking the worst that the world could give us
Yes,
and taking it and making it into something great,
right,
something that
right.
they didn't expect. That, oh, I didn't know you could do that, and so it's a beautiful thing, man, that you're taking what you have and expanding on it in this time. There's people need to be inspired.
Damn, man. Thank you so much. How's your family, man? How are you and the family doing?
Everybody's good, man. Praise God. My brother is um uh, filming. Both of my brothers are film. My Omar has his TV show, and
Hmm.
Junior has his movie career. He's
Yes.
still doing his thing. He was directing and producing. But you know, all of of course, the COVID has shut him down for a minute as well. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes you have to create your own light. Like I
Of
was
course.
telling my daughter the other day, you have to create your own light at the end of that tunnel. You can't wait for somebody to do it for you. And you know, that's what
Yeah,
we as
yeah.
people do.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm saying. I appreciate you. So let me jump to that because I know people that are on board watching right now, they see the last name and you kind of teased it a little bit, but Thomas is, again, I call him royalty, legacy. And he is the son of the late great Cuba Gooding Sr., the main ingredients. And his brothers are Cuba Gooding Jr., who he called Junior, and Omar Gooding. So now you guys see where there's talent all through the bloodline, man. And Thomas, let me ask you, man. You chose, was it your dad or was it your choice, or how did you fall into, because you're a bass player, and the other fellas are into the acting thing. How did you fall into the music stuff?
I fell into the music when I was oof, maybe I'd say around 11 years old. Um, I would listen to songs on the radio and start singing along with it. Um, I'm young enough to remember when WABC, which is mostly talk, is was a music station, and we used to listen to Cousin Brucey. I used to put it on and do my homework to it when I came home from school,
Right.
and so which did me well later on. When I actually became a working musician, because a lot of the songs that we would do at the weddings, where I made most of my living um, for a long time. A lot of those songs were songs that I grew up listening to. Songs, I mean, because everybody didn't know about consumption or Parliament or anything like that in that.
Yes. Yes.
So when it came time to play Buttercup and Elton John and the
Right.
Beatles
Right.
and all that, I was like, oh yeah, I know what this is, you know. So the melodies were familiar to me, if not the actual chords or the actual notes. It was easy enough to pick up because I grew up listening to it.
Right, right. So you jumped in on the bass and you got your groove and you niched out a spot for yourself. As it seemed like all four of you guys did. Your dad, of course, legendary, voice recognizable, all over, and songs that he wrote and or did. Just don't want to be lonely. Everybody plays a fool. The main ingredient stuff is recognizable all over the place. And I know some of these questions they may sound like, okay, but I just want the folks to know, when did you start playing with his band?
I started playing with him, which is an interesting story. I started playing with my dad on oof, man, I had already been playing. I started playing bass when I was 14. Me being aware of what music was. I would just be singing around the house. I'd be singing to like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and singing all those high parts. And when I started playing bass, which started in my community center when I was younger, when I was about 12, 13 years old, there was a local band that would play in my community center, and I started playing, and I would go there and just hang out with them. One of my best friends is a member of the band, and I saw the bass. I said, "Can I pick that up? Can I touch that?" And he said, "Yeah." And I started touching it. And next thing you know, I got a summer youth employment job, and I started playing. But long story short, how I started playing with my dad, started joining local bands.
Hmm.
And I joined this one local band, which was based in Brooklyn, ironically.
Okay.
And they got a job at a place. They got a gig at a place called Sweetwater's. Now,
Know it well.
Right,
Yes.
Sweetwater's was interesting. Is that upstairs they would have the main act,
Right.
and then
Right.
downstairs they would have the local act. The main act usually the national act that had, you see Phyllis Hyman, you go there to see uh, 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 the
Just the name, the A-list.
radio, the big, yeah,
Yeah.
the A-list, and they'd be upstairs, but downstairs there was a lounge, and they would
Mhm.
have local acts playing at the same time. I was with a band that was playing with one of the local acts.
Okay.
During that same run, my dad was upstairs with the main ingredient. Tony
Mm.
Sylvester was in the band, and and I wasn't going to say anything because the band members that I in my band
Hmm.
said, "You should say something to your dad. You should go." Because I wasn't going to say anything because I'd met him at the Apollo maybe when I was 12. So this was maybe when I was in my early 20s. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
met him at the Apollo 12. Yeah, yeah, sometime before that, and we lost touch. And then I saw him at when I realized that he was going to be upstairs and I was going to be downstairs. The other band members knew he was my dad, and one of them whispered something to Tony Sylvester, and Tony Sylvester said, "You need to make this happen." And the band member, he grabbed me by my collar. He was a black belt, so I had no choice but to listen.
Right.
So he grabbed me by the collar, said, and I met my dad after the show, it was either after the show or in between shows, and I walked up to him in between the shows. I was, athletic basketball player. He thought maybe that I was. He honestly thought I was somebody who was going to jack him because he he owed me money. But then
Okay.
I said, uh, "Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm your son."
Oh, wow.
He said,
Wow.
"What?" And we stayed in contact after that. And his bass player, um, his bass player had a issue,
Hmm.
and um, the band decided it was time to replace him. And of course, my dad said, "Let's give him a shot." And
Yeah. And
gave
that
him
was
a shot,
it.
and we were off to the races. And so
That's
that's how
awesome.
I started playing with him.
Yeah. So, and I know that obviously led to you getting other gigs with other bands through your career. Drop some of those, because I'm asking you the question. Some people, I know you're a humble guy, you're a quiet dude, but name some of the other bands, groups that you played with. I know GQ is one of them.
Yeah, yeah. GQ, Raheem is one of my, still to this day, one of my, I consider him a brother, one of my closest friends. Um, GQ, I've worked with um, Allison Williams off and on,
Hmm.
Melissa Morgan. Um, I did some recordings with Lilo Thomas. A little brief little recording with the OJs. That was when I lived on the West Coast.
Okay.
Uh, um, Force MDs,
Right. Sweet.
Melba Moore. I got to
Hmm.
work with Melba Moore, and of course, I got to work with Freddie Jackson for about 2 years. Um, so I've been blessed. I've been able to basically travel the world doing what I do. Um, was part of a lot of fun with a change review show.
Hmm.
That was cool. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
listen,
like I
bless.
said, right now I'm still with GQ. I'm still with
Yeah,
GQ.
for those
So
gigs.
yeah.
Look, and I have spoken with a couple of other the LOS dudes, and I met you as well at BB King's
Hmm.
when you were playing for Emily
Emily
Surtees.
Davis. Emily Surtees. Yes, I
Yes, and
apologize.
Urtiz,
I'm
Emily,
sorry, Emily.
Emily,
Don't hurt me.
Emily introduced me to some amazing musicians. You and Glenn Gibson and L.A. Blacksmith, Harvey Morris,
Yeah.
Travis Milner, Travis. So it was a whole stable of you guys just in that building. And she was the one that kind of said, Shawn, you got this entertainment thing. You should form your own, group, because there's really no many male tribute shows. So fast forward, jumped into it. And I remember sitting in the green room that night And I was like, "Hey man, would you like to play bass in my band?" He's like, "Sure." Like no hesitation. I'm thinking like, "Wait a minute, this dude has been wherever and done whatever." And I figured you might be like, "Let me think about it for a second." You came right out. Yeah, sure, man. Just give me out. That was one of the most blessed nights that I, because that was that night I talked to Harvey and Glenn and you and all you guys were like, sure. And that made me feel like, see, sometimes people see celebrity or who they claim think is celebrity, and they think attitude all of a sudden. You're one of the most humble dudes, humblest guys I've ever met. Talented, man. You try to be high because you told me you don't sing too much, but during our show, sometimes I'd look back there and you'd be back there singing some of the songs. So I
well,
know.
that's a GQ influence. That's the G because that was part of the gig. So yeah.
Yeah, I know not to ask Thomas is he gonna sing again, but just put a mic back there because he'll say no, and the next thing you know, he's doing the Joe backgrounds and I forced him to do the Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 stuff. So it was great, man. So I know you named quite a few people, but outside of your dad, who were some of the major musical influences that you would just sit down and listen to? Not necessarily bass players, just music. Period.
Ooh. Um. Well. Uh. Like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Um. They influenced me a lot. The One of the first albums that my mom listened to over and over again and was the OJ Sailor to Heaven album.
Okay.
Hal Melvin's Blue Notes. Those those mostly the singing doo-wop groups. Um, I can honestly say that they, like you said, they didn't have to be bass players, but once I got into um, being a bassist, one of the first songs I learned was "Living It Up" Friday night. That was the
Mm,
first song I learned actually,
okay.
and there's a funny story behind that. But the
Tell it if you'd like to, man. Tell it.
well, it was funny that I told you when I was 14, summer youth in Corps. I got my first check, went down to the local bodega music store. You remember
Okay.
the bodega music stores? They didn't, they weren't music stores. They would sell records. They sell
Yeah,
musical
they sell
instruments.
everything still now.
Yeah, yeah. And I bought my first bass. It was like $65. It was literally like this big. Okay, so I went to the local record store, which was on Tremont Avenue, and it was next to the Deluxe Theater.
Okay.
I'm aging myself, I really am, but it was next to the Deluxe Theater. Richard T was the owner, and me and my grandmother and we went into the store and we asked him. I said, I want to learn how to play bass. What record would you recommend? He handed me that, and I went home, played it, learned it by ear, played played wherever the notes were on the, and I
Right.
played it.
Right. Hmm.
And then my friend who I told you about, uh, the one who I would go to the community center to hang out, he had the band, and I said, "Hey, come on down. I want to show you something. I've learned a song." And I looked. He said, and I started playing. Just put the record on. I played the song for him, and he got this puzzled look on his face. Looked at my fingers and said, "How are you? How are you doing that?" I said, "What do you mean? Let me, did you tune the bass?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "You didn't do-" I said, "Oh, you mean these? There's oh, okay." So that was how I learned my first song. The bass was out of tune, but I played all the right
Right.
notes.
Right.
My hands were all over the place playing these.
Man.
But yeah.
No, you know what? That's awesome because again, I got to tell these folks, you know my spirit. You know how I am. Knowing me for 3 years on this level, I'm very passionate about music, and I love to learn. And I would sit back and watch. watch you guys, watch you and Glenn and Travis and Harvey and all the cats that would play with us, and I would absorb it. And just recently during the pandemic, I got that spirit. I got that energy again. Like with anything, it just wouldn't leave. That I said I want to play.
Mhm.
I want to learn how to play the bass. I want to learn how to play bass. And who better to call Thomas Good?
Did you tune it?
I, I did tune it. I did. I don't have a story like
Okay,
that.
so you already have me, man.
Yeah, I don't have a story like you have. I did. I watched YouTube videos and learned the basics. And so, but I did, man. And you gave me some sweet advice on picking the guitar. Just you know what I mean. And I've got right now. Honestly, I can play up to 30 songs. Some of the songs that we play in the band. Just some of the songs. Period. Rainbow Connection. Some
Okay,
things you wouldn't even think that this great. Just learning, just taking songs.
right,
And
right, right,
and
right.
yeah, and that's I want to thank you, man, for being that kind of dude for me. Because again, we know people that would not. Nah, I ain't gonna tell you. Like, even at our age, who are just gonna be like, mm. But you're not one of those dudes, man. And I've been learning every day. And I just, I picked the easy songs first. Obviously, 3 notes, 2 notes. On that level to learn it.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting into the love roller coasters and the
Uh
Luther songs
oh.
and trying to learn some of that stuff. Yeah, to speed up. As you have your own style, obviously. Um, what advice would you give someone that wants to learn the bass?
I would say, first of all, you trust your ears. You know, um, don't get frustrated, and it's easy to get frustrated when you're learning an instrument. My granddaughter, yeah, my granddaughter, she she said she said she sent me a text the other day. She said, "Show me a picture of your fingers because I'm learning to play guitar."
Hmm.
And I said, but it hurts, but it's hurting my hand. And I texted back. I said, "Honey, these are new muscles. Like anything else, it'll take time. Your skin, the calluses on your hands will form. It's gonna just like learning anything else, like doing anything new. You're doing something new that your tendons and the muscles in your fingers aren't used to doing right away, just like
Right,
anything else.
right,
So I would say be patient, take your time, stretch, warm up before you play, um, and just focus on learning major scales, learning major and minor scales up and down. That would
yeah,
be my advice. If you understand a major scale, you understand the basic. You can understand the basic building blocks of every song that's ever been written, that's ever been on the radio, that's ever been a hit or ever not been a hit.
right,
They're all based on knowing that building block, and then if necessary, breaking that rule if you need to.
right. Like
The
playing in your own style, correct? On
Yeah,
on
yeah,
learning things
yeah,
because I know there's the basics, but then I know that you have to incorporate your own
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. The best way to incorporate your own stuff is to listen to a lot of the greats who went before us, and you know, there was a time when we didn't even know who these guys were. Like I grew up listening to consciously Louis
Hmm.
Johnson, um, uh, uh, Stanley Clark, Jaco
Larry,
Pastorius.
Larry
That's you
Graham,
know what I'm saying. Larry Graham. I grew up listening to these guys.
right,
Okay, but um, once you, but the more songs there are out there, you realize that there are guys who you didn't know that influence you. Like I didn't realize at the time because of the nature of the business that was James Jameson on all those records. I didn't learn that until much. We didn't learn that much later because they didn't give those guys album credits like they do now.
right, right,
Chuck Rainey Another
Mm.
one who I learned from without even knowing who he was. Bob Babbitt, who played on a lot of my father's records. Didn't
Okay.
know who he was, but I'm still playing. But I made a living playing what he what he did in the studio. So you never know. You don't have to just listen to bass players. Of course, you can listen to Miles Davis. You can listen to Coltrane. You can listen to um, saxophonists. There's all kinds of ideas. I mean, dig into as much music as I would suggest. Dig into as much music as you can. Country and western,
Right. Right.
pop, rock. You don't have to always. It doesn't have to always be R&B.
Sure.
Like
Sure.
Geddy Lee was an influence.
Mm.
Because one of the first band that my friend when when he saw that I could play, the first band he wanted to form was a rock band, and one of the first songs, a lot of the stuff we listened to, "The Way to Heaven," we listened, we Kiss and Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the first recordings I ever did was a rock recording. It wasn't
Okay.
R&B.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just this different. Listen to different types of music. We have a couple of comments. One of my playing by ear there by my buddy Tom Coyne. Don't use a pick. LOL. And Eric wants to
Well,
know. Yes, I mean, if some cats do use picks when they're playing bass, some cats don't.
it depends
Correct?
on what you're doing. It depends
Yeah.
on what you're doing. If I mean, I've never been comfortable using a pick, but if there was a certain um, sound that I was looking for, and this is more from a producer's edge. If there's a certain sound I was looking for, yeah,
Right.
yeah, use a
Sure.
pick.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
And let's get this question because I got to take a break in a few minutes. The first half
Okay.
always flies by. What inspires you from Derek Skinner? What inspires you as far as your, I guess, he's musically?
Um, what inspires me? So I guess you could say it's music that what
I know
inspires.
it's got to.
That's
It's a whole lot.
that's a
It's a whole lot, though, right?
that's a good question. I
Yeah,
mean, um,
because
I guess to clarify it, you have to clarify it a little bit. It depends. Like if I'm listening to, if I'm if I'm inspired by something that Victor Wooten does, or
right.
I'm inspired by um something that Aretha Franklin sang.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, uh, okay. Here's what inspires me: playing behind, working with great singers, because that
Okay.
was the one thing that my dad instilled in me, how to play for singers.
Okay.
And that's I think when we met that night at BB King, that's what inspired me to say to agree so quickly, because I think you inspired some singing in your comedy act.
Yes, I did. Yeah, while I was opening up for Emily. Yes.
And when I heard that, I was like, this dude can do all this.
You can
And
do a
when
little
you
bit of something.
said when you made that offer, I said, yeah, you know. So
Right.
that's what inspires me. I guess you could say,
Yeah. Well,
um,
you know what? Cool. This is a perfect way to segue into our break because I want to take a short break, man. But again, every show, I just felt it necessary, mandatory to pay homage, like you said, to when you're doing something, you want to be great. So you look at the greats, as Michael Jackson said, you study the greats and you take a little bit of them and you include yourself or develop yourself. So just for you, my thank you every time we perform for just helping me and playing for me was to sing one of your dad's songs, you know,
okay,
and
okay,
that will always work. So
I
I
know.
mean, having this being my platform, very humbly saying, and I want the people to hear you play. Let's do a little something before we go into the break. Hope,
Okay.
hopefully, hopefully I got it
All right.
together.
Let's one of these
Yeah,
things. Yeah, you and me
let's work.
both.
Let's la 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 a little bit.
All right. Here you go.
Hey, Say, wait a minute, where you going with that suitcase? Wait a minute, listen. Just wait a minute, then. Just listen. All right, you don't have to answer. Just listen. Hey, I don't mind when you say that you're going away. Just don't wanna be lonely. We're gonna come back with more Thomas Gooding on After Dark with Shawn Cornelius. All right, welcome back to the show. Thomas is still playing out there. Oh man, I appreciate you, man. This doing this thing virtual is kind of hard to hear, but it's all good. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna actually put the clip of us doing it in Jersey in the show so they can see how we rocked and
that,
rolled it, man.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I think I do
Yeah.
it.
Oh, we tried, man. It's
We
just
tried,
it's just
we
the
tried.
way, man. Yeah,
We
but you guys, all you got to do is Google Thomas and Google him on YouTube and the Legends of Soul and all of his name will pop up. You'll see how bad this dude is. And Thomas, this is now is the second half of the show. I'm gonna see how bad you are on another topic. We're gonna see how
okay.
bad you are with love, romance, and intimacy and relationships and all that good stuff. Now I know you can play the bass and you do your
Hmm.
thing, but let's find out a little bit more about you and your opinions on. So I'm gonna put you on the romantic funny man's love seat. You ready for that?
No, but okay.
All right, we're gonna make it happen. I think you're gonna be able to get past this one. And I'm sorry, man, it was set up.
All right, let me get some coffee in me for now. All right.
Everybody, most people like to take a drink of something before we
Coffee,
start the
really.
question.
Coffee, really.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right, here we go, T. First question: what is your definition of love, and why is it important to you?
Love is to my definition of love is being able to feel totally comfortable with someone who and someone who could be who's totally comfortable with you. Um, love is something. It's a strange thing how you can love someone and not like them,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
but I find that the best thing about being in love and loving someone is when you actually like them. I mean, everything has its up and downs, but there's no. But when you love someone, it I've grown to learn. I wasn't always this way. I've grown to learn that you know patience is uh, a huge part of that. Patience and being able to grow together. And when you find someone whom you love, who you can grow together with, that's the definition of love to me. Like I said, you don't have to like them all the time,
Right.
because people grow and change, but you adapt
Sure.
when it's real.
And why is that important to you?
It's important because what I've learned is that it can stabilize you. Love is supposed to be able to stabilize you. It's not supposed to have you all over the place, going crazy, not knowing which way you're going, not knowing who you can trust. Um, it's important because once you find that someone you love and you can trust them to have your back the same way you would have their back, and vice versa. It's important. Like I said, stability.
Right.
my wife and I've been lucky, blessed enough to be have been married for the last 2 years, um,
Hmm.
and you know, we stabilize one another. You know, I brag on her. I say she knows more music than I do.
Right. Right. She's
So,
a very talented
but
singer as well, right? She's a musician.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
got
But
yeah,
she,
man.
yeah. So she's amazing, and but we stabilize each other. I've learned things from her, and she's learned things from me. But she couldn't tell you what the chord, but she's introduced me to music that I'm like, no, I never heard that before. But that's we're getting back to music. But then again, that's our love. That's
Sure.
our
That's why
love
it's important to you. Yeah, that's the
where she
importance.
where she brings something that I didn't know about. I bring things that she didn't know about or didn't weren't aware wasn't aware of. Um, and but it's not a competition.
Hmm.
It's help keeps both of us stable.
Sure.
In the fact that I mean, and humble, humility. That's that's why it's so important to me. And humility keeps you stable. If you're not, if you don't have any humility, it's hard to be stable.
Right. Right. Okay. Let's jump to romance. What is your definition of romance, and why is that important to you?
Romance. See, I like physical contact. It doesn't have
Okay.
to always be sexual.
Right.
I just like being able to. To me, romance. You know, not it, which is, and it's not sex.
Right.
It's two
Right.
different. Romance
Sure.
is being able to just grab onto that person that you love, or just a touch, just being
Right.
able to touch. That's romantic to me. When I'm touched, I feel it. When I'm touched by someone I love, it just sends tingles, and that's romantic. That's
So,
romance to me.
so wait, Thomas, guys tingle too?
hmm Don't let them tell you they don't. Don't let them tell
Don't
you
let them
they
tell you
don't.
anything different.
No,
We do tingle, ladies. We tingle.
they do, but just that macho. No, no, I'm all right. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Oh,
That movie. That scene in that movie. Come on, and still you fighting back tears. Come on.
listen,
Oh,
bro. I'm one very much in touch with my feelings and myself. I let it go. Yeah, I be crying sometimes. Boo.
right, right.
You know,
I, I hate that movie. It's a Wonderful Life because it makes me cry every time I see it, and I'm like, how many years is this movie gonna come on? And I still got
you
tears.
still watch me
Oh,
cry. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but it,
It is
it's more of a sign. I think it's something that a lot of men need to really stay in touch with themselves about. Because we can be toxic if we don't.
sure, sure.
You
And
know.
that's a good answer because I was going to ask you that down the line, but you put it out there. What advice would you give men? And you just really basically said, listen, man, you got to be get in touch with yourself and let it rock and roll. It's nothing, especially nowadays. You got to show that. So, all right, cool, good answers, man. Give me three things that turn you on about a woman, Thomas.
Hmm. Um, I love a woman who doesn't take herself too seriously. My wife will tell you she jokes about herself. She jokes with me. She jokes with everybody.
Okay.
So she doesn't take herself too seriously. I mean,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean don't mess with her. Don't mess with her though.
Right,
You
right,
you know,
right.
and but that turns me on because we can laugh together when someone laughs. Um, um, Let me see. Physically, um, yeah, a pretty face.
Okay.
Pretty,
So,
physically beautiful.
mhm.
Um, um, uh, let's see. You said three things.
Sure.
Huh? Ah, a a a, a caring, intelligent, uh, mental outlook,
Okay. Someone who's caring.
but
Okay.
intelligent. But
Right.
caring, yeah, that's like four things. But
So you gave me four. That's
more,
fine.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah, someone who's caring with a good heart, but not someone who's yeah, but intelligent. You
Right.
can't, yeah.
Right.
It's like I mean, I hate to, but uh, geez, it,
Nah,
it's,
just let it fly,
I
brother.
don't know
Let it.
about. I don't know if it's about. I wouldn't say it's education necessarily. That helps too.
Yeah.
Someone who studied, who can sit down and actually read and understand a book or
Sure.
knows things. You know, who can financially, basically not financially, but just basically has the mindset to be able to manage.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but with yeah, manage,
And that's
manage
speaking
a
on
whole
different,
manage.
several different levels, man. It could be common sense level,
Yeah,
school
yeah,
level, high school, college, whatever. As long as you have some of those kind of parts, yeah, that's all right.
exactly.
So let's go to
hmm
the other side. Three things that turn you off about women:
Smoking.
smoking. Okay.
hmm hmm Um, let's see, being uh uh I don't
Say it, brother.
loud. I mean, I don't know how how can I put this? Loud. Yeah,
Be
and
loud.
if we're in a it depends on setting. I mean, and in certain settings, you don't want someone who doesn't understand that a it's about it's about decorum.
Mhm.
You know, someone who lacks decorum. That turns me off. You know, um, let's see, and I guess I'd say, mm, turns me on. Smoking, I guess that goes along with what I'm about to say. Which is, I guess, not really a big revelation. Hygiene, because to me, if you're, well, yeah, smoking. You know why smoking bothers me? Because a lot of people who smoke, and this is just my experience, people
Okay.
who smoke, can be inconsiderate. I don't want to smell it everywhere. I don't want to see
Right.
cigarette butts everywhere. I don't want to.
Right.
That's
I
your
got
habit. You know
you. Yes.
what I'm saying? So the consideration,
Okay.
consideration of what other people may or may not.
Those are good
Um,
ones. Those are good ones, man.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
on a scale of 1 to 10, Thomas, how romantic are you, Mr. Good? On a scale of 1 to 10.
I well, I don't like you said. I don't like to brag, but
Brag,
I'm
brother,
very.
brag.
My wife will tell you I'm very touchy feely. I mean, if we have we were blessed. We have a pretty large apartment, but every once in a while, and we don't like the same things on TV.
Hmm.
So we have a TV in the living room. We have a TV in the bedroom. She watches the TV in the bedroom. But every once in a while, I'll just jump up and just go and grab on her, if you know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean.
So
Give
just
me give
because.
me a number on that too. Give me a number on the grabbing, your level of grabbing and being up close to her and cuddling. Where would you place
Yeah.
yourself? Between
Uh,
one and between 1 and 10, where would you place yourself? what number would you give your romance?
I'd say 11.
That's cool. Thomas, let me tell you something. There have been people on this show that have given themselves a 45 in the 70s.
Well, you said 10, so
I
I
love that
mean,
too.
like you said,
Yeah, you're a humble dude. You probably want to
but I
times it.
try to be. I try to be, but I love it's it's one of those reasons why it's so hard to be with a woman who smokes because if if every time I want to go and cuddle, it smells like the Newport factory.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's a rough one.
come on,
Uh,
you know, yeah.
all right,
So
cool, cool. All right, so let me give you one that might be a little tougher. Let's see. Let's see our time. Okay. All right, Thomas, we have respect, honesty, and trust, right? Three things: respect, honesty, and trust. One of those has to go, but your relationship will still be fine. Which one are you getting rid of? Respect, honesty, and trust.
Sheesh,
Yeah,
that is a tough one
yeah.
because, uh, man, in my opinion, if you don't have respect, you don't have the other two anyway.
Okay. So
So,
okay,
and
so you
if you have respect and honesty, they all tie together. That's why that's a hard question, man. That is a rough one, you know. um,
you're not the first person, man. Trust me. All the guests they like, wow, come on, Sean.
um, yeah,
Just for
hard one
kicks
because
and just for kicks
honesty
and
and trust, honesty and trust are probably so closely tied together. Because if you're not honest, then I can't trust you. Well, you know what? Let me see.
you do it like a you do it like a math problem. Let me subtract honesty and add trust. All right.
I know. I tend to get analytical, so too analytical. I watch too much news shows, political stuff. So I kind of I've gotten into this analytical thing about
Ah,
everything.
so just no,
Um,
just go ahead, just throw it out there. Just throw one. Again, remember your relationship will still be fine. Just get rid of one.
Get rid of one.
Yeah,
If I have respect and honesty, then I guess I would have to say that trust.
trust can go.
Yeah, yeah, because respect and honesty uh, still lends itself to a sense of
Trust.
stability.
Still okay.
Stability. Yeah,
All right, listen. I'm gonna throw
that's
a
the
curve.
important thing. Like you said,
Stability,
it's
right?
about the yeah.
You talked about it before earlier about the stability, which is important for the foundation of any kind of any relationship. Now, usually
Hmm.
I'll jump into something else, but I'm gonna throw a curve because I don't want to leave this out. Last year, I was blessed enough to along with a co-writer do a film called Whatever It Takes, the movie When Blood Runs Cold. Thomas Gooding said, "Hey man, if you got anything going on, such and such and such and such." So I was able to have some members of the LOS Legends of Soul and but you said make sure you have some speaking parts, some lines.
Uh, well, if you can, I didn't kind of put a gun to your head, motherfucker. You said I like that. You said that like I said, like it was no green M&Ms. No, come on,
Oh,
man. But
you didn't threaten me,
yeah,
but I can feel it. I can feel it like, all right, Sean, if you're gonna put me in here, I need to work on my acting skills. I need to speak.
right.
So,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
did
That was there was a motive there. Yeah, because I wanted
sure
you
was.
to.
Yeah.
Harvey.
Harvey Morris pops in after we called his name a little while ago, and he's been on the show before. And you did a great job, Thomas. You did an awesome job, man. It was great having you on the set. 'Cause you said this was kind of like, if I can recall correctly, you wanted to sharpen up some acting skills, some acting things,
Mhm.
and then you've been in a feature film.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And the fact that it happened before the COVID thing, it was, you know, like you said, I think I said it earlier. The more we do as a people, it seems like when the world hands us crap, like when we were back on the plantation, they handed us the pig,
Hmm.
but they took the parts of the pig that they thought were good, but we took the pig and we did things with it that they now consider delicacies.
Yes, yes,
Okay, so that's where that's where the whole acting thing, and it was an attempt at the time, and it still is, for me to want to stick my toe into other things, into other aspects of uh, of of artistry, entertainment, however you want to classify it, um, because who knows, you know, what what
right, right.
may come of it.
Well, I
Yeah.
thank you again, man. I thank you for that and being a part of that project because that was special, special to me. And also, whenever we play something special, which is a song I wrote for my parents in memory and dedication to my mom and dad, you work it. You guys like Harvey, man, it's awesome. It's an awesome. That is also online. You guys check that out. Just type in on YouTube, Legends of Soul, something special on my YouTube channel, Shawn Cornelius Entertainer, and you can see basically a lot of our excerpts, some shows and some songs that I put up there and see how Thomas did his thing and how great it was. All right, T. Before we get out of here on the show, man, I got to do one more thing. Let's play a game. It's a game I like to play with my guests, and it's called Favorite Sevens. A really easy, specific game. I'm just gonna shout some things out, and you give me your favorite, and then we'll close this thing out. All right, you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Favorite food.
Salmon.
You said salmon.
Fish.
Salmon. Okay, fish. All right, salmon. Okay, cool. Favorite all-time song. You played hundreds of thousands. You know hundreds and thousands. So which one is your favorite song?
Favorite song.
Yes.
Jesus. Oh my gosh. Uh, See, this is you become a wedding musician and you make everything a part of you. So
Yes.
that's my curse, unfortunately, or my blessing. My favorite song.
hmm The minute it comes
Ooh.
on, Thomas, the minute it comes on, the second it comes on, you just drop. You would drop everything and just either start playing the bass or just singing it, dancing around. Your favorite song, one that touches you like that. I know the action musician that question is crazy, but
All right. I'm gonna just throw one out there. I'd say "You Know How to Love Me" by Phyllis Hyman.
okay, all right, all right. Favorite. Harvey was trying to help you. Everybody plays a fool.
Yeah, yeah. Good one, Harvey. Thanks, but I thought about that, but that'd have been too obvious. Dad did other songs. Oh, wait a minute. Rolling down a mountainside.
What did it say it again?
Rolling down a
Rolling
mountainside.
down the mountain. Okay, all right. I'll go with whatever.
If you want to talk about one of my dad's songs, thanks, Harvey.
All right. Favorite all time movie.
Movie.
Yes.
It would still have to be "It's a Wonderful Life."
Okay. I thought you would go back to that one because of how you talked about it. Sure. Yeah. All right. Favorite book you've ever read. I see a lot of books, but I don't know if that's music behind you or books. Favorite book you ever read?
The Lesson by the Booton.
Okay. All right. Favorite all time vacation spot? You've traveled the country, you've traveled all over. Where would you just drop right now if someone said, I'm going to give you a ticket for you and your wife? You just go. Where you going?
Paris, France.
Okay. Parents, friends. All right. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Favorite all time TV show.
Hmm. I'm gonna go with something newer. Breaking Bad.
Okay. Yeah, it could be any era. Favorite TV show. All right. And this one's going to get you off the love seat, my brother. And we're going to slide you out here. Favorite time for making love in the day, like in a 24-hour period. Favorite time making love.
I would say it's about third time. Oh yeah, in the mornings, like anytime after 9
The way you was like, oh yeah. I sound like you thought
yeah.
about an experience, not a time. You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, brother Gooding, man. With that answer, you are now off the romantic funny man's love seat, and we are. Hey, man, thank you so much, Thomas. You know I love you, brother. I appreciate you so much, and I'm gonna put up where people can find you, but leave the people with a positive message on your way out, man.
Well, thank you for having me, and I love you as well, Sean. And just I would say just that with all that we're going through, with all the craziness that we're going through, just because it's so easy to let your spiritual and your mental guard down. I would say I would say just hold tight, just stay strong, trust in God, and if and think about it like this: when you think about the term, it'll get better in the end, and if things haven't gotten better, then it's not the end.
Beautiful. Beautiful, man. Thank you so much, Thomas, for again for stopping by and hanging out with me. It means so much. You know that I tell you that all the time when we sit down and we speak, even if we just text hello to check up, man. So I'm going to let you loose, man. I want to thank everybody on Facebook who tuned in tonight. I want to thank everyone who chimed in, asked questions, continue to support. Music is important, and hopefully, God willing, soon this thing will be all right, and I can get the Legends of Soul band back together, and we can get a show in New York City, book it, and get around. So you can come and experience Harvey Morris, Thomas Gooding, Glenn Gibson, Treviso Milner. I'll put this guy in there, Shawn Cornelius, and James Gibbs the third,
James, yeah,
and check
yeah.
out this fantastic show and lineup. So, on that note, as I always say in parting, please go with God in your heart. Have a peace of mind. Have a wonderful, wonderful tomorrow. And take care of yourselves. Be safe, guys. Again, as we always talk about, we know what's going on. So if it's just something as simple as wearing your mask, social distancing, wash your hands. If you're not doing it for yourself, do it for me. Do it for Thomas. You may walk past us. We don't want you to walk past us without a mask on. So, from Lula May and Cornelius's baby boy, I'm the romantic, funny man, Shawn Cornelius, saying good night. God bless you. And I'll catch you around the corner on the next episode of After Dark with Shawn Cornelius. Thomas Gooding, I love you, brother. Continue blessings to you and your family.
Love you more. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor.